if you give it everything and it doesn't work out, well, at least you gave it everything. Little did I know, I was coming from the beach down at Waiho Bay on the east coast of New Zealand, beautiful weather, into a polar vortex.
Oh, you're such a cutie, Elliot.
Welcome to Football in the Trenches, our 6th edition with Elliot Collier, playing for the Chicago Fire in Major League Soccer, who's struck his way up across the leagues, hailing from the small and obscure and distant country of New Zealand. He's now gracing the fields of Chicago Fire, which is one of the original MLS clubs in a great city of Chicago, one of the 3 big cities in the United States. And we're really glad to have you on board to discuss with you about football in the trenches, Elliot, and about your career and profile you for our audience.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, welcome, Elliot. Good to see you again.
Yeah, always good to see you.
Just for the listeners, Elliot and I know each other back from New Zealand. We attended the same football academy that my uncle was running at the time. So just a little background so the listeners know that we also have a little connection there, eh?
Yeah, for sure.
You're not allowed to say 100% today. You're not allowed to say 100%.
Good old LA days.
We're going to start with rapid fire question section, Elliot. So this is short questions with short answers. So we're going to start with who was your favorite player growing up?
When I was really young, it was David Beckham. I remember having the full Beckham kit. And then as I got a little older, Cristiano Ronaldo took over that spot for me.
You had the haircut and everything, yeah?
Yeah.
Who's the best manager or your favorite manager that you've played for?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, I've had so many good ones along my path, from your uncle, from, my college coach was really good. Danny Hay right now with the national team, he's awesome. And my current coach at Chicago Fire, it's really tough to.
It's a political answer. Good answer.
Yeah. I think at the moment I'd have to say, just from the amount of years that I had with him at Loyola College, would be my college coach, Neil Jones. Nice. I mean, he really pushed me and helped me get to where I am today.
Nice. And who's the best player that you've played with?
Oh, that's tough. I played with Bastian Schweinsteiger, obviously, here for a couple of years, and that was fantastic. He's on another level. But then, also got the likes of Ryan Thomas, who was fantastic to play with. But I think I'd have to give it to Schweinsteiger. He's just top class.
Yeah,
on another level.
Of course, especially
Thomas is younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But everything that Schweinsteiger has achieved, it must be unbelievable to
playing with a legend of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Unbelievable. Do you have a favorite goal that you've scored? Obviously, you're known to score goals playing up front, but does something stick in your mind that, that comes to your mind straight away if you have a favorite goal?
Yeah, I'd say when I was on loan to Memphis in the USL, I scored my first professional hat trick, and the third goal of that, I just dribbled about 6 guys and scored. So, that was probably my favorite one.
Bringing back the futsal days, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, my coach actually he told me I was coming off in about 5 minutes, so I was like, all right, I got 5 minutes to try and complete this hat trick, and I got the ball off a throw in, turned the guy, and just ran the length of the field.
Oh, decent, man, decent.
Yeah.
What's your favorite meal?
Favorite meal? Ooh, this has to be a tribute to Mum. It's got to be a roast dinner. Sunday roast, yeah. Mum makes an unreal roast.
What's your favorite film?
Oh man, that's tough. Maybe like The Dark Knight, something like that.
Joker,
yeah.
Joker.
Heath Ledger was, best villain performance I've ever seen. So
Yeah,
Give it
unbelievable.
that one.
Legend.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite current international player?
Favorite current international player? I think I got to give it to Ryan Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, massive shout.
Massive shout out to Ryan. He's I mean, watching him, playing with him, he's the real deal, man.
Yeah, 100%.
You're not
If
allowed
you
to
could change your nationality in soccer, what would it be and why?
I don't think I would want to change my nationality, you know?
Yeah.
I love being a Kiwi and representing them is one of my greatest achievements, you know? Gives me a lot of pride, but I am also half English, so maybe, maybe represent mum and go for the England team, but nah, I'm happy where I am.
Yeah, you don't have it bad with the dual citizenship, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And if you could play in any other sport, not including football, what would it be?
I think it'd be golf. I've started playing a little more golf recently, and it's while it's really hard and frustrating, it's really satisfying.
It's a very popular answer around the football.
Yeah, I bet.
Really?
I feel like football is, love to go play golf in your off time and spare time. It's like a nice, relaxing, you get outside kind of thing. So.
And growing up as well, if you weren't involved in football, where do you think you would have ended up? What would you have been doing?
Oh man, all I've ever wanted to do since I was 4 was kick that ball around the field. So I can't think of anything else. It's never ever changed from I'm gonna play as a professional soccer player. That's all I've ever wanted to do. Maybe be a streamer or something. I don't know. Play some video games.
Come on, drop the gaming side, mate.
Yeah.
What's your game, Elliot?
Oh man, I've played so many. I played COD, played Rocket League, and oh man, so many.
Those Rocket League players are unreal. They're flipping the
I can't do what they do, but it's good fun.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Well, that's the end of the rapid fire questions. Cheers for that. Toni.
Yeah, I was trying to ban the term 100%, but obviously I failed. You guys used it 3 times already. You didn't hear me. I was trying to say, Jesse, stop it, please. No, come on. It's a Kiwi cast today. Tell us about your upbringing, Elliot. Where did you grow up, and in which environment?
I grew up in Rotorua in New Zealand, so it's kind of like center of the North Island, touristy town. Lots to do. Football wasn't great. I ended up, started traveling away, an hour and a half to Hamilton or Cambridge, and then 3 hours to Auckland, 3 to 4 times a week because the competition wasn't there in Rotorua, and there were a handful of us. Some guys that I played with growing up that we'd all travel, we'd all go away. So our parents would just rotate, taking us after school and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I did that for a while, traveling every week. And then my parents thought it would be a good idea to move up to Hamilton, to the club that I was playing. I was playing at Hamilton Wanderers. I think this was like when I was like 16, I think, something like that. So I ended up going to St. Paul's Collegiate in Hamilton, got a scholarship to go there because it was a private school and my parents couldn't afford that. And then I was able to play for Hamilton Wanderers while I was there, and I was playing for under 17s at the time. And then as I got older, I was playing for the reserves and the first team there. So yeah, I played, and then I was also playing school football as well, which Jesse's uncle wouldn't have liked very much. But I was on scholarship, so I had to do that,
Yeah.
Comment.
Declan, if you're listening, you gotta cut the kids some slack.
He would say never.
I know what you say. He's just probably unfriended me on Facebook. Who introduced you to football, and who were your early influences?
I would say my mum, and well, my dad was a rugby player, but my mum was never going to let me play rugby, and so my mum's got that. She's from England, so my family over there is crazy about football, and I don't even really remember not loving football. So I don't know when it started. I don't know if it was something I just started kicking a ball around, or mum and dad kind of put me in that way. But no, as long as I can remember, I was kicking a ball around the house. So
I have to ask, where in England are they from? Who does your family support in England?
So my mum's from Devon, beautiful part of England, and my uncle supports Manchester United. So that's who I supported when I was younger. I grew up watching the treble, and Sir Alex Ferguson was a fantastic manager. That era was unbelievable for Manchester United. And then, of course, that's where I moved on from Beckham to Cristiano Ronaldo.
Well, obviously, Elliot, we mentioned it a little bit before that we both attended the, I'll say, New Zealand famous Ole Football Academy, who was run by my Uncle Declan at the time. How was your decision made to move down to Wellington, and what were your experiences like within that environment? For our listeners who don't know much about it, it was basically a building where we all lived together, and it rolled out onto the field in Porirua, Wellington. So what was first of all, how was your decision made, and what was your experience like being there?
So basically I wanted to go pro, and I wanted to find the best path for that for me. And my parents wanted me to have a plan B. So we found out about the possibility of getting scholarships to US colleges. And through Ole, that was a possibility. So, I went down and trialed, and, I did well enough to be invited to go. And from there, my decision was made. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go there, get a scholarship, and then I'm going to go pro afterwards. That was my thinking all along. And at the time, we didn't know that, your uncle Declan would be taken over, and all you guys were going down there, which turned out to be, the greatest part of Ole for me. Working with you guys and working with Declan was tremendous for my game. But then when my mum found out that Declan was going down there, she was like, nah, you're not going anymore. And I'm like, well, my dad was like, he can make his own decisions. And I was like, exactly, I'm making my own decision. I can go there. Because, I grew up, watching Declan, and Declan's age group was a year above me. And my parents, or my mum especially, was like, no, you can't go down there. Seeing the way that, he had a little bit of infamy with some of the games we saw. He kicked off, 4 guys from your team and didn't put any subs on, kind of thing. So you're playing with 7 men. But no, I was like, Mum,
true story.
I'm 18. I'm 18 now. I'm a big boy. Let me let me go do my thing. And I got down there, and he was fantastic. I couldn't speak any more highly of Declan and you boys as well for welcoming me in and making me a part of that squad. It was, I look back at those Ole times as some of my best footballing times. It was just, we worked so hard, we all improved so much, and we had so much fun doing it.
Yeah, completely back that up, mate. 100%.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, football in the trenches, we don't in any way endorse cults or all right, you can edit it out if you want, Jesse.
It's definitely staying.
What then you made the leap to the US college system after as you intro that, and tell us that story. I mean, how it happened, and what was the NCAA like?
Yeah, so basically I went down to Ole. Within a month or two, they had a full scholarship kind of lined up for me at Loyola. And, you know, the head coach was from New Zealand, as I said, Neil Jones. He was very straightforward with me about the program and about, you know, what he's trying to do. And a couple of the other college coaches were kind of just a little iffy on things they were telling me. So I wasn't into that. So I decided to just commit, and the guys at Ole wanted me to stay for the full year so I could continue to develop, and then I'd head over next January. Little did I know, I was coming from the beach down at Waihao Bay on the east coast of New Zealand, beautiful weather, into a polar vortex in Chicago. I think when I got there, it was minus 18 Fahrenheit. So this was like walk outside, and if you have exposed skin, you could get like frostbite kind of weather. So
concrete metropolis as well.
Yeah. So I was thinking, what have I got myself into? I can't survive this cold. I was miserable. But yeah,
in Sweden, they have a saying: "It's not cold; it's only wrong clothing."
Yeah, it's true. But then yeah, I got over to the States, and you know, just like the boys at Ole, I had a great group of guys that welcomed me in and looked after me, and we got to work. Basically, our program was not good. Previously, they had, I don't know what the previous year, they were like 3-12 or something, 3 wins, 12 losses, something crazy like that. They were pretty bad. And then my first year, I think we went 8-8 and something. I don't know. So we weren't great when I first started, but we were laying the foundation for, you know, we had some good years to follow that. My junior year, we went to the Ncaa Tournament, got into the second round. That was the first time ever for our program to host an Ncaa game, which we won 2-0, which was unbelievable. And then we went to Notre Dame, and it was a miserable, freezing evening at Notre Dame, and we ended up losing that game 1-0. But it was an awesome experience.
It's a derby too, in a way, plus Chicago derby. Cool. And in the draft, 49th pick, you worked your way into that. Tell us about the draft excitement.
Yeah, so I actually had no idea I was getting drafted. I played for Chicago Fire's PDL team, under 23 team, which is basically, for people that don't know, is the college summer, like college off-season league, where basically all the college players go to continue to train and get better and have competition. So I played for Chicago Fire's team, and at the end of it, the coach invited me to train with the first team for 2 weeks before the college season started. So that was fantastic. You know, I got to go train with the pros and be involved in that. They got to look at me a little more, and I kind of just formed a connection there. And then following college, I thought they might pick me up. I thought they might not. I didn't really know. And I woke up, you know, I woke up to my phone just blowing up. I had all my buddies texting me. I had my parents. I had just everyone was like, "Have you seen it? Have you seen it? Like, congratulations!" I was like, "What is going on?" And then I get a call from the manager of Chicago Fire, like, "Hey, Elliot, I hope you've seen. You know, we drafted you." And I was like, "Well, I hadn't seen, but now I have, so thank you." we drafted you. We want you in preseason in 2 days. And I was like, "Oh, okay. Preseason in 2 days. This is happening really quick. This is everything I wanted." You know, I didn't really know what was going to happen. I've been to a couple of combines, and you know, I didn't know whether I was going to go back to New Zealand or I was going to go overseas and look for something. But you know, the draft happened, and then I got to go to preseason with Chicago Fire, and you know, at the end of preseason, they signed me. So the rest of that was history.
Oh, that's a crazy story. And you know how quickly football football is, it goes up
Yeah,
really fast,
yeah.
but then on the opposite side, it can also go down very fast.
Oh yeah, it's got
But
the highest highs and lowest lows for
And
sure.
it's kind of cool that you were oblivious to it. I know a lot of players
Yeah,
that really got 23-year-old heart attacks following the draft. So yeah, definitely.
So now you've spent a little bit of time being a Chicago Fire player, but you had some loan moves into the USL, which is the second tier in the US.
Mm-hmm.
We read up a little bit of information through coming up with the questions for this podcast, and we found a little interesting story about what happened after your loan move to Memphis in 2019 and coming back to the Chicago Fire after doing that loan move. What happened with that?
Yeah, so I went on loan at Memphis. I had a decent season. I played a lot of games. I got a lot of minutes under my belt, some goals, some assists, that kind of stuff. And I was had a meeting. I came back and I had a meeting with the general manager, and he basically said, yeah, we're going to sign you on for next year. Basically keep working, all that kind of stuff. And I was going home, so I left the meeting being like, yep, cool, being re-signed for next year, it's awesome. And then coach gets fired and new coaching staff comes in, general manager steps away from his position. They bring in new sporting director, new what's his role? Another guy as well. The sporting director brought in another guy. And then I was back to square one, basically told, we'll invite you to preseason and see how you do from there. So I went from, thinking, sweet, you're always thinking about, your contract and, if you're solidified for next year kind of thing. And I thought I was, and then I wasn't. So I went back to New Zealand and I worked my butt off in my off season, had a little bit of time with the family and came back ready to go for the preseason with the new team, with the new coach. And
how did you, because obviously, being a player myself, to deal with those, if you could say, setbacks a little bit, through something that's really out of your control, how did you deal with that mentally? Did you have some support from outside, or did that even just give you more motivation, or what was your vision of it at the time?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I had the support of my family and that kind of stuff, but you knocked it on the head. It's extra motivation for me. Coming into a preseason when you've got nothing and everything's on the line, it just really, I think it even pushed my game to the next level. I had a great preseason. I was top goal scorer for preseason. I was working really hard. I felt really good in front of goal, and I was playing really well. So I think it was about 2 weeks into preseason they signed me. So it wasn't even the full preseason until I was signed. So no, it was fantastic. And of course, my mentality is always just keep working to get better, keep pushing. Every day got to get better. So that's kind of what I did. If you give it everything and it doesn't work out, well, at least you gave it everything.
Yeah, definitely. And then as well, since obviously these moments, you debuted for the first national team of New Zealand. What was your experiences there? I know you obviously played with a lot of, boys that we played with in the past, also at Ole, and also a lot of people that you have a nice connection with already. So what was the experience like coming from your time in the US and then meeting up in that environment, playing at the highest level of football?
It was, phenomenal experience. I'll remember it for the rest of my life, that putting on that jersey for the first time and all that. But yeah, getting into camp was kind of familiar. There's so many Ole boys and so many guys that I'd seen and played against, like that kind of stuff. It wasn't really, obviously there's nerves and it's a new environment kind of thing, but it's kind of just like you're back with the boys almost, like I remember
banter.
I remember taking Eli and Callum and Nando. I used to drive them to school. Like, they used to come, tap on my foot to wake me up in the morning. Hey, Ellie, can you take us to school? I'm like, yeah, okay, let's go. So yeah, it was really cool. And I had the same feeling in training as well. Like it was just, we're doing 5v2s with Shiver and all that kind of stuff. It's just very, very familiar. Kind of just felt like being back at Olay in a national team environment, which was an awesome feeling. They're explaining, Danny's explaining drills, and I'm like, I already know what the drill is because I've already done this. But yeah, no, it was a phenomenal experience. I actually had a funny thing about playing against Ireland. So my debut game was against Ireland. My mum flew out for that, and my auntie and uncle and cousins flew out for that as well. So I had my family supporting there. Tyler Lizette was there as well. He was right behind me, sitting behind me the whole time. Didn't even tell me he was there. He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah, shout out Tyler.
Friend of ours.
Shout out
yeah,
Tyler.
From LA. So I'm in the locker room before the game, and the goalkeeper Stefan comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, I forgot my shin guards. Can I use yours?" I'm like, "Bro, what if I have to play? Like, what am I going to do? I don't have shin guards." He's like,
"Dude, it's national team."
He's like, no. He's like, no, you're not playing this game. You're starting against Lithuania. So I was like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah, I got." He's like, I basically talked to the coach kind of thing. I was like, "Fine, yeah, take my shin guards." So I give him my shin guards, and I'm sitting on the bench. It's like 78th, 80th minute, something like that. And Danny goes, "Elliot, warm up." I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't have shin guards. So I'm warming up, and I don't have shin guards, and I'm done warming up, and I'm coming back. Chris Wood just came off, and I see like he's got his socks down and shin guards. I'm like, Chris, can I give me shin guards? I don't have them. Like Stefan has it. So I get his shin guards. I'm going up to Danny. He's like talking to me about stuff for the game, and I'm putting in my shin guards as he's talking to me. He's like, "Are you fucking kidding me? How unprofessional is this?" Like, basically, like, what is wrong with you? You don't have your shin guards in. And I'm like, trying to explain to him, like, it's not my fault. Like, it's mine. But I was like, fuck, I'll talk about it afterwards. Like, I'll tell him about it later. And then, I went on and I had my debut, and then we laughed about it afterwards. Danny came up to me and was like, "Yeah, heard you gave your shin guards to Stefan and you didn't have any." He's like, "How about that for, you're probably nervous going on to your first international game and I'm yelling at you."
Unbelievable.
National team, guys. National team. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, never heard a story like that from.
I'm not going to forget that one. That's for sure.
Oh. What's the cat's name? The cat's been parading behind you.
My cat's name's Luna. Yeah, she's great. She loves to explore and jump up on things. I'm surprised she hasn't jumped up in front of the camera yet.
Nice. Well, she's welcome. I can ask her questions if she's ready to answer questions. Completely switching the spectrum there. Tell us about Chicago as a town. Best things about Chicago. Are there any particular old world, neighborhoods that you like? I mean, you were in Loyola, that's north side of the city, and
yeah. Chicago's fantastic. It wasn't really too big of a shift for me coming over here because it's very diverse, and Loyola especially is very diverse. So there's so many different people from all over the world, so many international students. There's colleges everywhere here, so all those colleges have students from different parts of the world. So and then of course you have all the the villages, Greek village, Polish village, and Chinatown, and like all that kind of stuff, and they're all fantastic. And especially like the restaurants, you go to those places, the food is fantastic.
Any favorites?
There was an Indian place up by Loyola called Garib Nawaz. We would get that after trainings, and they had like a kind of like a classic butter chicken like we'd get back in New Zealand. And it was like the It's like the only
Garlic
place that
naan.
we could.
Garlic naan.
Yeah. The only place we could find that.
It's a way to put off the
Yeah.
defender psychologically. Yeah,
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Switching the spectrum again, Elliot, tell us about a failure or apparent failure, which set you up for later success. You know, something which you wish would have gone differently, but actually ended up being quite good.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite one?
Example for this? Yeah.
Okay.
When I was 15, I had the opportunity to go trial at West Bromwich Albion. So I went over there. You know, this was before I'd grown. I was pretty small back then, physically, mentally, not very mature, and I got the shock of my life. Basically, I went over there. I was training with the 18-year-olds. Handful of them were already on pro contracts, so I was basically coming in there to steal their job. And you know, I didn't get treated very well. I got spit on. I got, you know, beat up in training, kind of stuff. And I was training twice a day with them, and then once in the evening with the 16s. And the 16s were the guys that I was actually getting basically looked at with. You know, I was getting assessed with the 16s. But by the time I got to the 16s in the evening, I was exhausted. You know, I trained 2 sessions already previously with the 18s, and you know, things they weren't going terribly. I wasn't like a fish out of water, but they weren't going great. I wasn't out there killing it. I was just kind of out there. And at the end of I don't know if it was a 2-week trial or something like that, but I think I only made it through like a week and a half. And then I was like, nah, I'm done. I was like talking to my parents on the phone. I was like, I just want to come home, like that kind of stuff. And I told my parents, Luna, you got to stop doing that. I told my parents, I don't want to play football anymore. I'm not good enough. I'm never going to make it. I tried, all that kind of stuff. So I go home back to New Zealand, and about 2 weeks passed, and I'm like, wait, no, that's stupid. I can't stop playing football. Like this is all I've ever wanted to do. This is what I love. So from that point on, I was like, I still want to go pro. That is the ultimate goal. But now how do we do it? And then that's when basically we started looking at the US college system and basically preparing for that, and just got back into training and trying to get better every day and that kind of stuff. So yeah, we went from quitting football forever to no, we're still going.
Good, yeah. Those trials can be particularly tough in the big leagues.
Yeah.
You know, that's definitely.
Yeah, it was actually funny that when I was over there was a New Zealand team that came over to play West Brom's under-18s, and at the time West Brom's under-18s were top of the Premier League, Youth Premier League. Like they were really, really good. And I was watching them play the New Zealand team, and it was 11-0 at halftime to the West Brom team, obviously.
And any of those guys make it into the Premier League that you trained with?
I'm not sure. I'm not too sure. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure either.
Yeah.
It's still a big step.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it was an eye opener for sure. Basically, just it showed me the level that I had to get to, and how much more work I had to put in, because I obviously wasn't there.
And that as well goes back to what we were saying earlier about, you know, the way that you handle and take different situations. Obviously, you had a little bit of a downtime there, but, you know, as quickly as you can to switch that round into a positive and be a motivating factor again to go and
yeah, for sure.
go and be getting on the right path and doing the right work again.
Yeah, and especially when you're young, you think it's the be all and end all, but you know, it's a process. Football's a process, and takes time to, you know, I don't even think I was a football player until I went to Ole. I don't even think I learned the game of football until I went to Ole. I was basically just to get the ball and dribble as far as I could with it by myself.
And the thing as well about playing professional football is there's so many paths, you know what I mean? Like your path took you over to the United States, you know, obviously Ryan Thomas went over to Holland, you know, there's loads of different paths to make it and, you know, and live from this beautiful game. You know, we're so fortunate in doing that.
It just takes us on a journey, and you know we're at the mercy of it as long as we give it everything, which I love. You know, this journey, I wouldn't change this journey for anything.
Yeah, they'll never stop, like this guy I know, Jesse Edge. They never stop traveling. No. What are some? Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Ole, but can you highlight? I mean, can you be specific about some of the important playing philosophies, systems, or ideas that you've picked up along the way? How do you like to play football, and what are your? I mean, you've been called New Zealand's Peter Crouch. I've heard that. I had somebody, you know, I had a foreign onlooker once say, "Who's that guy? New Zealand's Peter Crouch." I couldn't remember your real name, but that was before you made your debut. What have you, you know, what specific things can you pass on to players embarking on the same, you know, wanting to embark on your journey?
Yeah. First of all, you got to love the game. You got to love the ball. You got to love. I mean, me personally, and I mean Jesse for sure as well. When we were at Ole, we just absolutely dominated teams with the ball. We moved it so well. Everybody wants the ball. Nobody's out there hiding. Mistakes are being made, but then you just work hard to get the ball back. And when the whole team buys into that philosophy of, you know, of controlling the game, keeping the ball, attacking, and then when you lose it, repressing. That was a huge thing. I never really thought too much about the defensive side of football when I was younger. It was just wait till I get the ball and then do something with it. And now, especially being a professional, and the way that my coach now and assistant coaches want us to play, the repress and our pressing is a huge part of our game. Obviously, we like to keep the ball and play really nice football, which we do. But being able to keep teams pressed in and win the ball back, and you're right in front of goal, like that repressing and pressing is huge. So, but yeah, for younger guys wanting to play, just love getting better. That's you gotta just love learning. You gotta love getting better. You gotta give it everything. Don't take a practice off. It's not worth it.
You mentioned I mean, Chicago very often deploy in, you know, the German influence 4-2-3-1, and you play as a lone striker. How you know you said you didn't consider the defensive aspects of the game before, but that lone striker's really got to work hard. Could you give any tips to players down the league system on how to better play that position?
Yeah, so I actually haven't been playing too much forward. I'm actually playing out on the left is my preferred position. But you know, if I do have to play up top, then you're the one who's leading the press. Everything kind of stems up from you. If the team's ready to go and they're pushing you from behind, then everything's got to be an all-out sprint. But if it's not on and you're not ready to press, then you're the one that can hold off and tell the team to just sit back for a bit. Being that number 9 in that formation, you hold a lot of responsibility for engaging the press. Yeah. So if you're ready and you see that your team's ready, then you can go for it. But if not, just kind of tell them to hold off.
And picking the right moments.
Exactly. Yeah. You can't press for 90 minutes in a game. You'll die.
No. You gotta have a
Unless
good
you're
sense
Firmino.
You gotta get a good sense of your teammates. It's that reverse vision. I mean, you're up front, but you gotta feel what your squad, how compact the squad is behind you.
Yeah, and that's where communication's key. You know, if everyone's talking to each other and you're all on the same wavelength, it makes the game very easy.
Yeah, communication is massive, I think. Especially here, I'm currently in Sweden, and I do a little bit of youth coaching, and the football here is quite quiet, to be honest, and that's the main thing that I try and bring into the players, because you know communication is a really huge part of football. like for you as a striker is similar like me as a defensive midfield player for my center backs. You know, the communication is about how you control your distance. It also can bring the energy and the tempo into the training. It's all from just speaking, so the communication is a massive part of football.
You speak energy into your teammates, with whether it's, encouragement to go and press, whether it's telling them to sit back, it's communication. And you can tell, in games when teams are quiet and they just don't look the same when they're all barking orders at each other, kind of moving as a unit. If you're not playing as a unit, then you're going to struggle.
And then kind of spinning off the communication side of things on the field, you've been to, and been through lots of different environments in football and also in futsal. But what's some bad recommendations that you hear in this profession?
Bad recommendations? What do you mean by that?
Like bad advice. I mean,
like bad advice. Yeah.
I don't really hear too much bad advice where I'm at right now. Generally good advice from coaches and players.
Yeah, even going back to being a youth in New Zealand or through college, maybe anything from like that.
I can think of one example from an old teammate, an old Ole teammate, Riley Kelleher. He was at Northwestern, a rival school of Loyola, and he was telling me about their trainings one day, and he was saying they're only allowed to use their strong foot in training. If you use your weak foot to either control the ball or pass the ball, it's the other team's ball. So that's some of the worst advice I've ever heard in my life.
It's a good one.
Yeah. If any coach is telling you to only focus on your strong foot, then he's telling you the wrong thing. Yeah. The more two-footed you can get, the better. Especially, and as an attacker, the more dynamic you are. As a defender, holding mid, whatever, play balls with both feet. If you can spray both sides of the field, then it's going to be very hard to predict what you're trying to do.
Improve your strengths, back them up by shoring up your weaknesses. Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's a good one, actually. I've heard a lot of those types of things with obsessed coaches, but anyways, not to pick on anybody.
No names.
No names. Yeah.
Elliot, we're at the rounder phase of the interview, the a little bit of more general philosophical questions. So that's where we're headed now. First one is a really easy one. How do you define success, Elliot?
Oh, wow. I don't know. I guess it's like, for me, it would probably be, happiness and contentment with the work that you've put in and what you've achieved. If at the end of the day, the day that I hang up my cleats and I look back on everything and I'm like, yeah, I gave everything I could. I worked in training to get as good as I could for as long as I could. And, that would be a successful career to me. If I look back on it and I was, I took that year off, I didn't really try in these games, I probably could have done more here. That's not the kind of thing I want to look back on.
It's good. A question about money. We don't like to ask a lot about money, but what purchase of $100 or less, and specific purchase, has impacted your life most positively in the last 6 months? Can you think of one?
Whoa, a purchase of $100. I'm not really I don't really buy things, I'm not much of a money guy. I don't buy shoes, I don't buy clothes. I have
food.
Yeah, cat food. Yeah, cat treats. I did just buy. So my girlfriend also has a cat. I did just buy her like a cat climbing tree kind of thing, and she loves it. So that's pretty great to see.
Oh, you're such a cutie, Elliot. But Elliot, if you had a gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, metaphorically speaking, getting a message out to millions or billions of people, what would it say and why?
Probably just like something cliche, like love one another, or like
don't eat
treat
the marshmallow.
Don't eat the marshmallow. Treat others like you want to be treated, or something. There's so much shit going on in this world that we got to be better to each other. As human beings, we got to be better to this world. To the earth, to the planet, to everything on it. But yeah, something like that. Just treat others the way that you want to be treated.
Oh, really nice, man. Really nice.
So you're one of these guys. You need like 3 billboards in a row, and then
Live, laugh, love, something like
that. What is one of the best and most worthwhile investments you ever made? And that's not the money investment, but like time, energy. Could be a money investment, but not necessarily.
Best investment. I think probably investing, like this has gone on throughout my whole life, kind of thing. Investing time into like your teammates. I kind of like getting to know them, doing things with them, bonding off the field, bonding on the field. Like as a footballer, that really makes your life a lot better, and it makes your life better, it makes the team life better. I'm a big believer in team chemistry and doing things off the field with your teammates to build the bond, because your brothers on the field. You got to fight for each other. If you really care about your teammates and your club and all that kind of stuff, you're going to give it everything. So
a team is like an extended family, really.
Yeah,
we know
they really
close
are, and especially for for us, like we're away from home. We've been away from home for a long time, so they do become your family. I'm living with 2 of my college teammates. So, and it's been a while out of college. So they're one of them, Geordie from Ole as well, and the other one an American guy. But yeah, they become your family, and you spend so much time with them that you gotta make those relationships count.
Yeah, sounds like really good advice. I mean, you come from a very a small tight-knit football community in New Zealand, and you get to this kind of diverse, chaotic, everybody's transferring in and out environment of US soccer.
Yeah, exactly.
Good advice from the sound of it.
In the last 5 years, Elliot, what have you become better at saying no to? What new realizations and or approaches helped saying no to things? And do you have any other tips for time management and using the time that you have to the maximum, to the most potential you can?
One thing that I say no to is alcohol now. I throughout college I partook in my fair share of alcohol, and after college I cut it out. I couldn't really do it anymore. Negative impacts of it were just not worth it. So kind of cut out all the the alcohol and all that kind of staying up late, those kind of things that are just not good for your body and just don't really have a place in a footballer's life. Obviously, if there's something to celebrate, then you got to celebrate. You got to celebrate things in life. But
there's always buttered chicken. I mean, that's very healthy. Very, very healthy, right?
yeah. But then there's also the other side of the things where I think, like, if you're feeling good and you're happy, you're going to be playing at your best. So I try to do things that, especially during this past year of COVID, where it could be very mentally taxing on the whole world is under stress. So just kind of doing things that I enjoy, doing things that keep me mentally happy, taking a step back from football sometimes. If you're constantly thinking about football, worrying about football, your mind's on football all day, every day, it becomes a lot. It's kind of nice to be able to be fully engaged in training, be fully engaged when you're, it's work. You're a professional footballer, that's your job. So when you're at work, you're at work. You're focusing on the game, and then when you come home, obviously you take care of your nutrition, your sleeping, all that kind of stuff. Your body, if you got to stretch, you got to do all those kind of things. But then other than that, kind of just take a step away and do things you enjoy, do things that keep you sane, I guess.
Yeah, I want to spin off from that a little bit as well. Because obviously as a professional football player, you train every day, and after training, it's not that you're just going home and doing and drinking what you want or whatever. You have to be very focused. And do you have any things that you do when you start to lose your focus, or if you've lost it temporarily, what do you do to bring that focus back and that drive?
I can't really say that I do lose my focus all that often. My whole mind is, the way my mind works is I finish training and then I'm thinking, what have I got to do for tomorrow's training? So I've got to go home and eat. Do I have to take a nap? Was it a really hard session? Maybe I need to sleep. Maybe I need to eat some more. I need to hydrate. And then once I've done all those things, those tick all the boxes. And then I'm like, okay, well, I've done all my things. Now I can relax. Now I can do those things that I enjoy. Play video games, watch TV shows, hang out with friends, hang out with girlfriend, play with my cat, that kind of stuff. But I think the hardest time to be really focused is the off season, because it's technically your only time away from football. Maybe you're going on vacation, but then when you're on vacation, you've still got to be doing your workouts, still got to be making sure you're eating the right things, or even if you're eating the wrong things, not eating too many of the wrong things. You don't want to come back into preseason.
That deep test is coming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you don't want to come. We do skin folds, like fat testing and that kind of stuff. You don't want to come back overweight. Yeah, and that kind of stuff, but which has never really been a problem for me. I'm too skinny as it is. I'm always trying to put weight on. But yeah, it's, if you do have those moments of losing focus or something, it's trying to minimize those and trying to get back on track as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and then going back to, like you said, about eating bad sometimes, there's a time and a place, so it's not that you just have to be 100%, white chicken, white pasta, no sauce, what I mean? Sure. Like there's a time and a place when, when you are out of season, you've had a successful time, you let loose a couple of days with the team, and you have a, go have a pizza, what I mean? But obviously it's the day in, day out things that are going to give you success. It's about the consistency.
Yeah, and it's moderation for everything. Like if you're gonna have a little snack, you're gonna have a little cheat meal, that kind of stuff, as long as you're not making it that every day, which is kind of nice. I don't know how they do it with you guys, but for us they give us breakfast and lunch, so we only have to take care of our dinner, and our breakfast and lunch obviously very healthy and have all the nutrients and calories that we need. But yeah, like I said before, I'm always trying to, I lose weight very, very easily, especially when I'm running a lot. So I'm always just trying to pack on the calories as much as I can, try and maintain my weight as much as possible.
I'm going to send you some addresses for the Polish neighborhood, some special dumpling places.
Oh yes, please. I love Polish dumplings.
And that's pierogi. You're gonna get pierogerias.
Yeah, there was a little supermarket up by Loyola that had these fantastic old dumplings, and you just boil them in some hot water and you're good to go. They're fantastic. I think I lived off them in college, actually.
Send some over my way, please, Elliot. Yeah,
you gotta go visit, Jesse. You gotta go visit.
Oh. Definitely,
I'll send you with the address book. I'll send you with the address book and and I mean, and the actual introductions to like the store owners. Then you get the special menu.
Oh,
that's Chicago. Yeah. Chicago's all about the special menu.
Yeah, yes, please send that my way.
I had some Chinese friends in college, and we'd go into this Chinese restaurant. It was like a really boring, ordinary Chinese menu, but then say, and then out would come like this 52-page menu in Chinese, and they'd order it.
Wow.
It was heavenly. It was fantastic.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, the US is big on their secret menus.
Yeah, yeah, and the diversity of the ethnic neighborhoods and all that. It's a fantastic place. Hope that soon all blows over with the COVID thing and the world opens up again.
There's so many places I've been waiting to go eat at, but everything's closed. So just have to wait.
Elliot, what makes the difference in levels in a profession? I mean, you've been through several levels of the football profession, soccer profession, and what does the term game insight mean to you?
So obviously I've got my experiences from college, which is, not professional, and then going into MLS and then USL. The biggest difference I've seen in USL versus MLS, especially when I was playing there, is, obviously speed of play, physicality. MLS is takes a step higher in both those regards, and also your mistakes aren't punished in those lower leagues. You can get away with a lot more, which I just couldn't get away with in MLS. You take a bad touch and nobody's there to take the ball off you. You do that in MLS, you're going to lose the ball. So it's that next level of little details that takes it to the next step, and you got to be focused and for all 90 minutes of the game. You can't really take those plays off, and you kind of see a lot of that in USL compared to MLS especially. And game insight, I guess that to me it's kind of just like knowledge of the game and knowledge of the way that your team is trying to play. A lot of teams, I feel like, aren't on the same page and are kind of winging it a lot. I was part of one of those teams when I first got to Chicago Fire. We didn't have a style of play. We didn't have a way we wanted to do anything. It was every game, what are we going to do? We're going to mark this guy, take him out of the game, and then we're just going to go out and try and win. Like, that was it. Whereas what I'm part of now is we have a very, we have a football philosophy. We have a structure. We have a lot of things that we're trying to do, things that we train. So yeah, kind of just the way you and your team see the game together, I guess.
No, really nice answer.
Yeah, I think the when you described your growth of knowledge of the defensive side of the game as an offensive player, I think that was a good example of game insight as well. I want to highlight that because it was an interesting share.
Yeah, for sure. So, that's the end of the interview, Elliot. Thank you very much for coming on to the podcast, and
that's great.
It's really nice catching up with you again. Of course, really good to see you and see you're doing well. And I wish you all the best wishes and success for your career and season. And of course, we'll stay in touch as always, man.
Yeah, sounds good. I wish you the same back, mate.
Thank you very much.
Good luck on recovering from the niggle, and we hope to see you back in the fold really soon. And
I'm
getting very close. You'll see me back very soon.
Oh, awesome to hear that, man.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, mate.
I'm excited.
Yeah, good to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It was awesome.
No problem.